In this lesson, we're going to go over the forest lister, which is this button right over here. Now, we briefly discussed in the very first lesson that the forest lister, if I click on it, is going to give us a menu of all the forest items in our scene, which is really handy to have when you have multiple forest pack items in your scene and you want to navigate through each one. So what we need to do is first understand what we are looking at. So this button will obviously activate the forest lister for us to look at, and immediately you can see that I've already populated it and we'll be able to go through all of these menus. The first option that we have over here is called select object. Now if you simply just click on it, it's not going to do anything for you. What you need to do is first click on the one that you want, and by clicking over here you'll get a blue icon, and then when you click this button it will then automatically go and select that forest pack for you. Now there is another way of doing that, so if I just deactivate that blue button, I can just click on the name and it will also take me to that forest pack. So if you don't know which one is which, you can obviously just click on the name and it'll take you straight away to that. Next we have this button over here. Now if you want to know which forest pack is which, by clicking in your scene, what you can do is you can select the forest pack, and then if you want to know which one this is in the list, you can click that button and it will highlight in blue telling you, okay, this one over here is that one over there. Let's click that again. Next is the select all button. So if I click that, you can see that they're all highlighted blue. The one next to it will deselect all of them. Again, very handy. You can select multiple by yourself. So if I click one, I can hold in the control and I can click any one that I want there. If I right click, it will deselect all of them. I can also click and hold in the shift key to select multiples from start to finish. That's always handy as well. The next button over here says rebuild selected objects. So when your forest packs have not been updated, especially using reference points, and you feel that it needs a refresh, you can simply come here and you can click rebuild selected objects and it will rebuild all of the forest pack items. Next we have the refresh tab. Now this you don't really have to do too often, but in the event that you've made a change to one of your forest pack items and it's not reflecting here, you can simply click the refresh button and it will refresh the lister. Next we have the settings tab. Now my lister does look different to yours because if I go into the settings tab, you'll see right over here I can actually choose which columns I actually want over here. So if I did not want, for example, the stats column, I can remove the stats and then click the OK button and you'll see that the stats column has now disappeared. Let's go back in there, select the stats and add it again. Then I can click stats and I can move it all the way to the top by clicking this button right over there, and that will move it all the way to the left. Let's click the OK button and you can see the stats are back. So your choice how many menus you actually do want to have. So add, remove, and then moving up and down over here. The font size obviously will change the font size of the text. Include hidden objects. Now if I come over here, you can see a tick and a light bulb. The tick will literally switch the forest pack on and off. The light bulb will hide it. Now, if you are hiding forest pack objects, you can go into the settings. This tick here says include hidden objects. If I untick that and click the OK button, you can now see that it has taken away all the hidden forest pack items, which can be useful if your list is really large and you don't want to see any of the hidden ones. So let's go back in there, activate the include hidden objects, click OK and unhide those. And then the last object over here, which is reload on open. What this does, this will force the forest pack lister to automatically refresh whenever it's opened. Okay, let's click the OK button and start at the left. Now we just discussed that this is selecting the forest pack item you want, but remember you got to click it and then click this button next. We discussed that this switches it on and off. This will hide the object. This is the name of the object. Now if you want to manipulate and edit the name, click here and then come right over there and then you can type in the name of the forest pack you want and then press enter. Now remember, if it didn't refresh there, just click that button and it will automatically refresh. Next we have a set of colored dots, and these represent the forest pack icons. Now we learned in the very first couple of lessons that the icons, when they change color, there's something wrong with them. You can find out what's wrong by simply clicking on one of these dots. Now we know that the greens are working and they're good. If I click on the red dot, it brings up the stats parameter, and then you can see here there are no included areas. So that is what's wrong with the red one. If we click on the yellow, it's going to say no visible items. Next we have build time. Again, if you click on the stats, it'll tell you what the build time is. So this one specifically was 1 millisecond. Now, this is the stats column that we just discussed. Next we have the geometry. This is telling you how many models are actually inside the forest pack. So the first one, this one over here, there is only one model. The third one, for example, has 10 models, and Forest Pack 004 has 14 models. So just to give you an idea, if I click on Forest Pack 003 and I go underneath the geometry list, there's all of our models right over there. So it's telling you how complicated it can be. Next to geometry is the areas. So Forest Pack Test right over there is one area, so it's one surface. This one has two areas, so you can see that I've attached two of them together. Next is the distribution. It is telling you how many items are in the actual Forest Pack scatter. So this one over here has 9, this one over here has 4,800. Next we have the items editor. So if you remember in that lesson, we can discuss whether it's generate or the items editor. And another handy function of the lister is that you can actually click on any of these tabs, and this is why I like having all of them open, because if I want to click on any of the tabs immediately, I can actually just click on it. It will not only open up the forest pack for me, but it will take me straight away to where this tab is, and in this case it's the items editor, so you can see that it's generator right over there. For example, if I wanted to go into the areas tab of Forest Pack 002, I can click on the 2 areas button right over here, and it will take me to the areas tab. So really handy to have this, and I recommend you always do have this available. Next is the camera. This is obviously telling you what the camera settings are, and it takes you straight to the camera. After camera we have surfaces. Now in the previous lessons we discussed the XY and the UV layout. So for example, if I go to Forest Pack 004, and remember I can just click right over there. So if I click on there, it takes me to the no surfaces, and I see that it is the UV, but it's not displaying because we don't have a surface. So I'm going to add a surface to it, and I'm going to click on the cube over here. Now it's UV, and straight away it updates to UV. Next is the transform tab. Now if I click on the transform tab, we just learned that it's going to obviously take me there. So this one only says T, this says S, this is R, and this is TRS. This is telling you which tab over here is actually activated. T for translation is enabled, both of them are disabled. Now if I click on the R, you'll see that it immediately updated to R. So this one is only scale, only the rotation, and this one is all three of them. Next is the effects tab. If I click on it, it's obviously letting you know that there is an effect attached to this forest pack. Next is the animation tab. So if I click on here, you can see it takes me straight to the animation tab, and this will obviously tell you what kind of animation that there is. And then finally we have the proxy. So for example, the forest pack number 1 that we have over here, if I do want to see it as a mesh, I can immediately activate it as a mesh instead of actually going into the forest pack, finding the display tab, and then choosing mesh. So it's a really handy tool to have, especially when you have multiple forest packs split through your entire project. And that's it for this lesson.